It's electrifying.
And make your hair stand up on its ends.
Oh, gosh.
Blowout.
Ow, man.
Blowout.
Come on, Aaron, join in. I know you watch Grease like every week.
Oh, Grease, yeah.
That's the word.
You're the one that I want. Do.
Let me turn in my ears.
What's that?
I can't hear Charlie.
Hey, Tim.
Can you hear me now?
Tim.
I mean, I can hear you. It's just not very loud.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
It's a great way to start the podcast.
We're professionals. Can you hear me now? Say
How about
something.
now? How about now?
Can you hear me now?
I can barely hear myself, too.
Hello.
Oh, hold on. I got you. Can you hear yourself now?
Hello. Nope.
Can you? Oh, wait. Can you hear yourself now?
I mean, it's good.
Can you
though.
hear-
Wow. Whoa.
there we
Whoa.
Whoa.
Easy.
Can you hear this? Spider.
Can you hear yourself now?
Hey, I can.
All right. Well, here we go.
Hey, you turned the wrong way up.
There you go. Time out. Let's just start over.
I think you're turning Brian's up, not Charlie.
Let's just start over.
Hello.
That was ridiculous.
Hello.
Can you hear us, Charlie?
I can hear y'all.
Dude,
Can
you
you hear
got to
me?
turn me
Yes.
on.
You gotta turn Brian down.
Oh, sorry.
He's losing his mind over there.
Can you hear us, Brian?
No.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Can you hear us now?
Yep.
Okay.
How about now?
I
Yeah.
can hear us now. Okay.
Aaron, can you hear us?
But I. Oh.
He's doing Grease.
Oh my gosh.
Please put this out in its entirety, John. Don't edit it.
No, it's
Just
already
leave
it's
it.
already gone.
Well, the video's still going.
Oh
so-
yeah. All right, here we go.
I liked your.
Oh my goodness. Wow. It's nothing like recording the second podcast of the evening.
It's the jackets.
It is the jackets. These things are actually mine fits me
I know
comfortably.
they fit really. They're not like tight track jackets. They're nice and comfy.
Welcome to the Five Live Bears podcast. We are, if you're watching us on YouTube, we are all being very imperial this evening. We're all wearing
Except for Brian.
except for Brian, who wearing his stupid Jedi
I'm a rebel.
rebel jacket.
Aaron, what Star Wars jacket are you wearing in Texas?
Oh, I've got my Rebel jacket on.
That's what I'm talking about.
No.
It's his gun jacket.
He's got
Well,
his-
if you're not watching us on YouTube,
They didn't have a Jar Jar Binks one, so.
the three of us are wearing Imperial track jackets this evening. We're going to the Death Star gym.
I do wish they were gray instead of green.
Yeah, well, the green's cool. These are the Army ones.
Oh.
These are the Armies. These aren't the Imperial Navy ones.
You would know that if you read the books, too.
Well, you would know that if you were true a Star Warsy in your endeavors like I
Is
am.
that like a newsie?
Yeah, well,
Star
the
Warsy?
Imperial Navy wears the gray, and the Army wears the green.
And the Air Force wears the black.
No, that's
Isn't the Air Force their Navy?
It's the Coast Guard.
the black uniforms are the Imperial security, like secret police type.
Who's
thing.
on the Star Destroyers?
Which one? What are you talking about?
Aren't they usually gray?
Yeah, that's Navy.
But the guys who shoot the cannon from the Death Star and the TIE fighter pilots
Are wearing black. Yeah, they wear black, but they're wearing
Maybe they're
they wear
Air
jumpsuits.
Force.
So, all right. Well, we're wearing our jackets this evening because we're talking Star Wars this evening. We're going to be talking about what has just dropped on Super Bowl evening, and we watched a lot. I watched it several times during the Super Bowl because I wasn't a big fan of the Eagles or the Patriots. So
Fly.
I'm glad that they showed the trailer for Solo at the very beginning. I mean, it was like right off the bat, and I was like, "Holy, it's Carla! Come here, watch it."
So, a couple things right off the bat. My wife has no interest in Star Wars. I'm not sure how we got married in the first place, but never seen a movie. We're sitting there at Brian's house watching the Super Bowl, and she goes, "Oh, that looks kind of interesting." I was like, "Who are you? Who are you that you found a Solo trailer, Star Wars trailer, interesting?" Brian passed out when she said it.
Well, the trailer that came out was of course the teaser trailer, and they dropped the full trailer the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And when the teaser trailer came out, I instantly started instant messaging all you guys. I was like, okay, this looks like garbage. I don't know, Eric, because it didn't really show nothing of any true consequence in
Except
it.
Lando.
Yeah.
Well, I mean
In
Lando,
his
but
pimpin' outfit, man.
well, Lando's always wearing those outfits. I mean, all the way back to Empire Strikes Back, he had that powder blue, had the cape,
Look good.
had the bell bottom pants and the slick shoes. Man, it was sweet.
Colt 45.
Had a Lobot.
Chilling in the cooler.
Had Lobot hanging around with him in his disco onesie and the sleeves,
the
you know.
headpiece thing.
Yeah, that was a hit of its time. The headpiece.
I like the fact that Woody Harrelson's character borrowed clothes from Obi-Wan. That's pretty awesome.
Ah,
Hey, man.
I'm not a Jedi, man.
Can I get this robe from you, buddy?
Well, and they dropped the teaser during Super Bowl, and I watched it. Did not really care for it, and then I watched it several more times. It was kind of like, you're not really seeing anything here that.
John went through the full gauntlet as he does.
Yes, I did. The only thing that I liked about it on the teaser one was the where they showed the Star Destroyer going through the cloud. I thought that was really cool. It seems like they did a really cool job with that. And I like the idea of him going to a recruiter. I thought that was pretty neat. But then the next night they actually dropped, I guess, what would be considered the full trailer, and I kind of liked it more. I liked the scenes that they showed, the way they seemed like it's going to set up. Looks like it's going to be a heist movie. I think that's really cool. And so tonight, what we're going to be
living.
So, well, I mean, if that's what it's going to be, we're going to be discussing and talking about the trailer and some other Star Wars news and just some interesting Star Wars things that we have been wanting to talk about over the last few weeks. Since the last time we talked about Star Wars was when The Last Jedi
Here's
came
my
out.
general feeling about the Solo trailer. I like everything about it. My one concern is how good is Han Solo? That's my only concern. I am a huge Donald Glover fan. I think he's great. I think Woody in the right role is good. It looks like it's a heist movie. It had some great looking shots from of the Empire and different things like that, and of course Chewbacca. But I'm just I just don't know how good Han Solo is going to be, and that is the kicker for me.
Brian, what's your thoughts? Are you going to go with dumpster fire like you usually do on all these? Or
No. I thought it looked good. That's why it shocked me when you were
I'll drop my phone over here.
No, when you texted like this,
Right.
looks like a glorious disaster or
That's
something.
a glorious
like that.
tragedy.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? Did I not see the same trailer you just saw? Because I thought it looked good. My one thing is there's the one part in the trailer where I believe the lady's dancing like on a gold dress or something. It looked a little.
Yeah.
It looked a little bit of that like futuristic casino look
Yes.
from
Last Jedi.
The Last
I-
Jedi. And I was
I
like,
had the same
"Ugh,"
thought.
that part I'm kind of. But the rest of it I liked it. The fact that Chewie was in it, that was like, okay, you got to have Chewie in the Solo
Yeah.
movie. So I thought it looked all right.
Totally agree with you. It cuts to that one scene where it's like the dance,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Oh, I don't
oh
even know the
no,
casino.
we're going back to Fifth Element.
Yeah.
See, my problem is this, because I don't know if y'all heard this or not. Spoiler. But the whole film's going to be them trying to find Chewie at the very end. Han's going to try to hand him something, and it's just going to fade to black.
What?
Yeah. It's a joke based
I
on
can't get-
The
I'm not-
Force Awakens.
I'm
I'm
not-
sorry.
I couldn't play. I
sorry,
knew you were
guys.
joking, but I couldn't place your
I'm
joke.
sorry, my nerdy joke was too nerdy for four guys in freaking Star Wars tri jackets.
We were waiting for the
Aaron, did you
punchline on
catch that joke, Aaron?
No, I was totally lost. I was getting mad because you were spoiling the movie. I was like, what? Stop it.
I gotta find you back.
Well,
Another thing, like I'm with Tim. I agree that the thing that is kind of most uncertain is how good Han Solo is going to be in the Han Solo movie. I have an observation too that maybe it's just me. Actually, somebody else at work, we discussed this. If you look at a picture of the dude that's playing Han Solo, not as Han Solo, he looks completely different. In this trailer, he looks like Dexter.
yeah,
From, like,
you're
Dexter,
right.
The serial killer Dexter.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is he gonna, is that like what he does? Is that what Han Solo does now? He hunts down serial killers? I don't know. It's off-putting that
By
he
the way,
looks
one of the worst TV endings.
one of the worst shows, period.
The first 2 seasons were pretty good.
Well, anyway,
Just because it's on
No
on
rabbit
premium
trails.
cable
John.
does not mean
John
it's a good
Lithgow
show.
was
John.
great as the Trinity Killer.
Save us,
Lithgow's
John.
great in everything.
Save us,
But,
John.
Anyway, so yeah, John,
John.
you were saying something when I cut you off. I apologize.
no, it was perfectly fine. I was going to let you go on your Dexter rant there for a couple seconds. I
His
have
sister
to
was the worst.
I have to agree with that because I think that is what it is. That's now you got me all screwed up talking about this stuff. the poor fellow who's playing Han
The poor fella.
the poor fellow
I
who's
think I
playing,
called him that too, John.
the poor fellow who happens to be playing
Aaron,
Han
what's
Solo.
the guy's name playing Han Solo?
I don't know.
I'm
Wasn't
looking
he in Game of Thrones? I just say
I
that
don't
because
know.
everybody's
the
in Game
girls
of Thrones.
in Game of Thrones.
There's at least one actor from Game of Thrones in everything now.
The thing about him is though is that he does not in any way, shape, or form sound anything like Harrison Ford. He doesn't look like Harrison Ford, and he's a lot shorter than Harrison Ford. At least it looks that
He
way.
looked kind of short for a stormtrooper.
Yeah, he looks a little short for Han Solo.
His name's Alden Einrich.
Heinrich.
I
And
didn't know Vision's in it. Paul Bettany.
and you go through the trailer and you finally get to see him. You hear his voice at the beginning, and it doesn't sound anything like Harrison Ford. And then you get to the one scene where he's talking to the girl, and he's like, he makes that, he smiles, and he's like, "Really? This is what you don't? Could they have found somebody who
I'm
possibly?"
telling you, Han Solo is one of those characters that's like impossible to replace.
Well,
I
exactly.
hope we're wrong. I really hope that we're wrong. I hope that we watch the film and we come back for the podcast so that we were totally wrong. This guy was great. What Ryan Howard did as a director is great. I'm just worried it's not going to be great.
Well, I think the thing about it is that my worry for this is not necessarily, and we'll talk about episode 9 here in a few minutes, but my worry for it is not necessarily for the Han Solo movie, but it is my worries for episode 9 because you're getting, and they're so trying to cover up the backlash people are giving The Last Jedi, and I think it's worse than what they're saying. I mean, they're trying everything they can on all these like screen rants and all these other things.
Well, Aaron, what was the thing you said they're doing in another country with this Solo movie? They're distancing themselves from Star Wars.
In China, Last Jedi bombed in China, and so they're not even calling it a Star Wars movie. It's called like Solo Ranger or something in China. So yeah.
But that is the Last Jedi backlash. It is nobody wants to be associated with
Now-
the Last Jedi, except for Star Wars.
Here's the
Who's
question
gonna
I
get
have.
that
and
through more movies.
Let me ask you guys if you notice this because it's real quick and I haven't gone back and watched it.
Brian's falling asleep.
Brian, are you all right over there?
Completely fine.
Oh, okay, I can only see in the monitor there, but
Do I need to sing again, Brian?
yeah, go do it, Aaron. Go. We're waiting.
Don't put him on the spot.
But I, oh,
Thank
I just
you.
hope your kids are in the next room going, "What is Dad doing in there with four
they
other
hear it all the
guys?"
time.
Dad, I'm going to my room with 3 complete strangers. I forgot what I was going to say now. The one scene where they show Woody Harrelson putting together his crew,
Right.
because you got Lando Calrissian, you got Han Solo,
You got the girl from Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, who I don't know exactly who she is, and then they show this character getting into one of the gunnery seats, and it looks a lot like Maz. Now,
Did it?
yeah, if you watch it,
Better not be
I mean,
Maz, or I'm
it's
not
quick.
watching this movie.
But so, what do you think? Did they throw a Maz
No,
katana in
they
there?
did not throw Maz in this movie.
'Cause-
John, don't do this to me.
Because
It's as bad as Jar Jar showing up.
Maz
Maz
is
is my
Tim's
Jar
Jar
Jar.
Jar, yeah, and so, everybody's seen it. What do you think? Is that
it's
her?
Warwick Davis, right? He's in it.
It looks a lot like Maz. I'm just saying. I'm just
Shut your
saying.
dirt- I'm googling it right now.
I'm just
Is
saying it.
Maz in Solo?
Has to look it up. I just said it looks like her. Now, one thing I thought was cool was like the Chewbacca. Chewbacca looks younger. I thought that was neat the way they did. I mean, as much as you can make a Wookiee look younger, but he they kind of.
Son a- This is a lot of things popping up about this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, man.
Maz Kanata.
So,
Han Solo.
what do you think, Aaron? What do y'all think what do you think the synopsis for this is going to be? I mean, as far as outgoing, we might as well. Tim loves it when we do this, but let's speculate. What do you think that they're going to be doing with this Han Solo movie? Is it going to be just a straight up heist movie, or is there going to be more to it?
I haven't really thought too much about it. It's probably him washing out of the Navy, the Imperial Navy, like he can't cut it or something, and him and Chewbacca going on a run and then up in this scam with all these other con artists and going on a heist.
It is not Maz. That alien has 4 arms.
Oh, does it? Okay. Well, okay, then we
Well,
have
Voss had 4 arms at one point. in
Chewbacca
time.
ripped them off.
yeah.
And that's why they're in love now. It went from it was a
That big
hate
furry
to-
creature.
Where's that Wookiee? Where's my boyfriend? Where is she?
I disagree with Aaron. I don't think it's going to be him and Chewie going on this run and they run it. I think he's going to meet Chewie through the crew somehow.
Yeah, yeah.
But the whole. Go ahead. I heard somebody get ready to chime in.
I hope that they go with the extended universe and they have. That's the reason Han Solo leaves the Empire is to free Chewbacca. Because there was an old in the 90s there was a set of Star Wars trading
We're
cards.
going
And
deep Star
Oh,
Wars
we
right
are
now.
going deep. Well, we're in the jackets. We have to. There was a trading card, and it was Han Solo, and he was burning his Imperial.
ID.
card, and Chewbacca standing behind him in chains. So and on the back of the card was like, that's the reason the Han Solo left the Empire was to free Chewbacca, feeling his enslavement by the Empire was wrong, and blah blah. I hope that's what happens. I doubt it because
But
that'd be pretty cool.
And that would be also confirmed by the extended universe, as nobody likes to talk about but me. But that the
Charlie just talked about
I
it.
know, but usually he doesn't.
I love it.
Yeah, me and Aaron.
Okay,
Usually,
fine. It's just Brian and I, okay?
okay, well,
Had
just
I
tell him.
not gotten a random trading card, I wouldn't have brought it up. I understand where they're coming from.
But in those, but they keep saying, and they've always said, oh, we're disavowing it. It's a Legends now. It's not the extended universe. But they keep pulling things out of it when they want it, and that would be confirmed because the fact is the Wookiees were enslaved across the galaxy within the extended universe to do all these things, and even in the new canon books, Han Solo and Chewbacca go back to Kashyyyk to try to free it. I mean, that's one of the things you
Is
see
that how
in
you
the
say it?
aftermath. Kashyyyk, yes,
I've always wondered.
yeah,
I've
Kashyyyk.
heard Kazook a lot, so I'm wondering.
No, it's not.
I
Kazuka.
thought Tatooine was pronounced Tatooine for the first
Oh, everybody did that until they realized there's that I is actually in front of the end. Oh.
And when you're a little kid, you like go to the ground fighting over that too.
That's
It's
Tatooine!
It's Tatooine. It ain't no Tatooine. It's,
Now we just call planets Casino Planet.
well, it's kind of that point. It's a little bit more. Anybody got any final thoughts on the trailer?
I'm going to go see it, and I'm going to see it when it opens. I'm not going to be like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to be wishy-washy, Johnny.
Oh no, I've decided I'm gonna go see because it's a Star Wars movie. We waited from 1999 on. George Lucas is like, well, I made the first 3, so I'm done. Goodbye. And then he made like the Clone Wars cartoons,
Star.
which is excellent.
I love John's George Lucas impression.
And then it's
Sounded
like,
Bane.
I was born into Star Wars. You only watch it.
See what I mean?
Did you see that George Lucas was on set and they let him direct a scene in the Solo movie?
Oh,
Did they?
Yeah. So
It's probably going to be blatantly obvious, too. It's going to be something terrible.
Well, as we see here, there was a big patch of midi-chlorians that I walked through, but unfortunately he wasn't able to pick up on it because he's a non-Jedi.
He got to
and
put
then Greedo shot first.
he got to put the names in the trailer at the end. That was what he had to do in the credits.
There's a scene where he walks past Jar Jar Binks.
Maybe they let him put in the final fade.
I bet he put the 4-armed alien in there.
that would be it.
Guys, you know what'd be great right here? A 4-armed alien. Look
Yeah,
fantastic.
thanks, George.
Oh, sorry.
Let's get Ryan in here to help you out. They could put him in a casino with 4-armed aliens.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Real quick, you're talking about extended universe. Do you know why they tossed out the whole extended universe?
Are you asking me like as a
Oh, I know the answer.
I know
trick
the
question?
answer.
The only
It was all because of that stupid Star Wars book where they killed off Chewbacca.
yeah.
They said that they could not let that stand. That Chewbacca was they had to throw all of it out.
Well, I think it was kind of. I hadn't heard that one. The one I'd heard about is that they just found things like the Emperor having Luke's hand and making clones of him and stuff was just a little bit too far fetched for a movie that has the Force and spaceships.
Hey, Mark Hamill liked that idea.
I wouldn't have had a problem
Luke
with
with 2 U's.
Yeah, Luke,
it. He'd
Luke too
his evil goatee.
2 eye patches, like I used to like to say. That'd been awesome.
Now, if you saw also that Game of Thrones creators are now getting
Yes.
a green light for another Star Wars trilogy, different than Ryan Johnson's trilogy. I was really hoping they were replacing Ryan Johnson just because, but no, we're getting the Ryan Johnson post trilogy, and now we're getting what is it, DB Weiss, and what's the other guy's name, Aaron?
Why do you keep putting me on the spot?
You
I
know
don't know.
everything.
Because you sent us the
John,
list.
John knows, right?
You sent us the list of things that we were going to talk about today.
The Game
Yeah,
of
but I
Thrones.
didn't. Yeah.
Well, anyways, the Game of Thrones writers they have been commissioned, I guess is the best word to say, to do another trilogy of the Star Wars, and this is a standalone away from the Ryan Johnson trilogy, which I guess would be not episode 10, 11, and 12. It's going to be something completely different. And it looks like they are just going to continue making these trilogies out into infinity. Game of Thrones writers are going to be doing it. Tim's looking up the...
It's DB Weiss and David Benioff. I don't know how to say his last name.
You know, from what I've seen of the Game of Thrones series, I watched I think the first season, and it just didn't click with me so much. But from what I saw and the way the writing was done, and it was decent. I mean, Tim's a Game of Thrones guy. He watches it.
The biggest issue I've seen with complaints online, and I kind of agree with this, is they're going to be writing this without source material. So
Yep.
they don't have the books to rely back on, whereas the last season and a half of Game of Thrones has been written ahead of the books. And a lot of people have felt the last season and a half has been the worst seasons of Game of Thrones.
But what if, let's just say, for instance, Lucasfilm was to go back and say, okay, we're going to open up the extended universe vaults and allow you to have all the source material from like the Old Republic series and stuff like that, and
Just
do.
hoping for a Thrawn.
He's going to say Thrawn.
Well, not a Thrawn.
Let's just say hypothetically, they say you could make your own Grand Admiral Thrawn movie.
Oh, I'd be like, yes, you better
Let's
make
just
it.
say there's a movie you could make, but there has to be a character who's not colored like a normal person. Wears a lizard around his neck.
There's a lizard around his neck. Where did that come from?
got a lizard around his neck.
Picture I've ever
box.
seen of Grand Admiral Thrawn. He's got some sort of dragon
The
lizard.
lizards
thing.
repel the force. Yeah. He keeps one on his
He
shoulder.
knows more
Aaron
about
just
it.
out Star Wars John.
Yeah, Mark,
Woo!
write it
We
down.
need to burn these jackets. We don't even compare.
We're not worthy.
We don't deserve
We're
to
not
wear
worthy.
these drag jackets.
Well, let's just say they were though. Do you think? And I don't know. I'm asking Tim because he watches Game of Thrones. Do you think they could possibly pull something off if they were to give them source material? Let's say like the Old Republic.
They pull something off every episode. Bazinga.
They would.
I don't know. I mean, 'cause I don't know enough about the extended universe to say those were good stories. Like everybody loved the Song of Fire and Ice or whatever series from way back when, and so I mean, quote unquote, they were pulling from a good source. And this is not me offending the extended universe. This is just me just not knowing much about the extended universe.
Well, I mean,
that's
reading,
more of an Aaron question.
What do you think, Aaron? I'll ask you.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah. I agree that the two guys that do Game of Thrones, one of their past writing credits was X-Men Origins Wolverine. So that kind of tells you what they're doing when they don't really have source
As soon as
material.
you said that, John or Brian's dumpster fire radar went off.
They're gonna
Gotta raise up a little bit, like, oh wait a minute now.
they're going to create a character that has no mouth and shoots the force out of his eyes. That'd be awesome.
Now,
And
what
Game
I
of
would-
Thrones.
What I would hope is that they would do a story in the way distant past about the Sith and about how they all backstab each other and stuff. Kind of a little Game of Thronesy, but not quite so adult. You know, I think something like that could work. But I don't have a whole lot of faith in these two guys.
So kind of like Knights of the Old Republic, but maybe leading up to that.
Yeah,
Well,
a lot of treachery and stuff. And
Brian, what do you think? I mean, do you think it's something that these guys can pull off, or is it just going to be another episode 8?
I don't think it could be any worse than 8. So, I mean,
Brian hates episode
I
8.
did not like 8 either.
Oh my gosh, Brian, you all hate
Besides
it.
the Porg.
I mean, I think I mean, I think anytime you can have some type of source material to at least keep it somewhat relevant, you're going to be better off than just, oh, hey, let's come up with some idea.
I mean,
that-
because honestly, they gave Ryan Johnson's like, here's your source, and they're like, he's like, screw
he
it,
was
I'm
like,
just gonna do
forget
my own
this, I'm
thing.
gonna throw this in the trash.
I still, and we can talk about this after we get done with this little
yeah,
section.
let's talk about that.
Yeah, we'll
after
talk
we
about
do.
that here in a second because
I think giving them source material would help them at least guide them somewhat. Now, whether they choose to use it or not, that's up to them. But it would at least provide some direction of where you want this trilogy to go.
Let's see what happens when I Google Thrawn lizard.
I don't want. I don't think you should.
Don't do that. There's
Look, John, right there. He's got a lizard around his neck.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Just make sure your safe search is turned on when you start looking at that stuff.
I didn't say Game of Thrones Thrawn lizard.
his blue sister with him there. That's the only way that could work.
Why is it always incest jokes with you guys?
Oh gosh, what was that?
Wasn't me.
I think I hit my phone here.
Oh, anyway, okay, back to our back to our podcast here. We've been talking about the Han Solo trailer, doing a little bit of talking about the Game of Thrones writers who are taking over some of the Star Wars stuff. But Aaron brings up a good question here this evening, and I think that it bears to be mentioned, being that we're all Star Wars fans. We know what Tim and Brian's views of The Last Jedi were. Charlie, do you share that sentiment with them, or are you a little bit more like me?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, it was just disappointing, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, but it was disappointing.
You have seen Suicide Squad, so yes.
But
he
Suicide
likes
Squad
Suicide
turned the
Squad.
corner from bad into good.
So how many times do I have to watch episode 8 before I think it's good?
Twice.
To quote
22.
one of
Is
my
it-
favorite movies,
52?
the Mean Girls, The Limit Does Not Exist.
Ooh, Mean Girls. I was on the other day. I was watching it.
It's one of my favorite films.
Wednesdays we wear pink.
I
Did not leave the south side of Chicago for this.
oh my gosh.
This is where you talk about episode 8. This is where the conversation comes
Well,
down to. Mean
I-
How
Girls.
many of you feel personally hurt by Regina George?
Now, how many of you feel personally hurt by Star Wars Episode 8?
Not me. They still got raising of hands in
Aaron,
here.
did you raise your hand?
Yeah, it's up.
I didn't raise my hand because I thought it was underwhelming, but I liked it, especially after seeing it the second time.
You're delusional.
I am not delusional. I think
That was terrible, John. That was the worst Star Wars movie ever.
I didn't.
It was not as bad as Phantom Menace.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
Phantom
On
Menace
that.
is
No,
the worst.
We had
No.
Luke
Attack of the
Skywalker
Clones.
drinking green milk.
No, I
mean,
have
come
to
on, people.
Straight from the cow.
No,
Come
he
on.
put it in a bottle first
Sworshed it around in his mouth.
Come on.
and had it in his beard.
God bless it.
I have to honestly say that I watched. I went back and watched the Phantom Menace right at Christmas time, and it's actually not bad.
Once a year around Christmas, I like to depress myself, so I flip
Because the
on the
sand
Phantom
hurts.
Menace.
Come on.
No, I like it. I like the Phantom Menace. I like the prequels. They're all
I
right.
didn't even think
Well,
we
then
counted the
your
prequels.
opinion of Episode 8 is done.
Yeah. Thank you
I
for
will.
this.
Hey, I'm gonna jump in here.
Okay,
I'm gonna jump
Aaron.
in. I agree with John. The prequels, I enjoy the prequels.
I like them. They're not the greatest. I mean, it's not the original trilogy, but
So
it's
is
still
Episode
good.
8, Episode 8, the worst movie, Aaron?
Yes.
It's really close to the bottom.
I
It's either
just-
that one or Attack of the Clones.
I didn't say. Now, here's my thing. Me and Brian about ready to have a fight here.
Fisticuffs.
I'm about to take his track jacket off.
Oh, he's taking off. You know, when you do your fist like that, Charlie, wearing that track jacket and your little, like, hat.
You do look
Fighting
like,
Irish? Yeah.
Come on right now.
I'll take you out. I promise.
You look like
No,
that
but,
guy, Sami Zayn.
I
No,
have
okay.
to.
Episode 8, real quick.
Gosh,
think
here we go.
it has-
We're on episode 8 again.
I think it has awesome parts.
Hashtag
I
another
think it
Episode
has-
8 episode.
I think it has boring parts. I think it has pointless parts, and it has parts that make me want to pull my hair out because it's so infuriating.
Kind of sounds like my
And-
wife.
And that's the problem. The movie is so long and it's so uneven, and there's so many pointless. You know, it needs a couple more drafts of the script or something, and I don't know. It's a mess.
it's completely
There are some
underwhelming.
really good scenes in episode 8.
There's
Well,
some-
and that brings us to Aaron's question. Is we got episode 8, which came out, and I think that they're doing a lot of damage control on it. I don't care what you say, because the problem I'm seeing with episode 8 is you get all these little internet clickbait type sites like Screen Rants and going and so forth that are putting out all these Ryan
We should
Johnson
make a clickbait
blah blah
site,
blah blah,
by the way.
and it's all of this greatness. But then when you go and you read the thousands upon thousands of comments that are coming out, it's people are just slamming this thing. Okay, so you got that, and then you have Solo coming out, which has been, as Brian has been calling everything, a dumpster fire. But he seems to want to think this one is not going to be that.
Yeah, I don't think Solo. Let me make sure I clear that on the record. Solo, it does not look like dumpster fire quality right now.
You could get there.
I would
but you don't
agree
really.
with you
could-
on that.
right? Because the next trailer could just totally.
Okay, but here's the point of my rant is episode 8 didn't do nothing for the fan base. I mean, it made almost $100 billion or whatever it did. Solo, people are already saying that they don't like it. I mean, they're like, oh, it's going to be horrible. So Solo's really going to have to knock it out of the park to redeem episode 8, or is episode 9 in some real trouble? I mean, that's the question Aaron put out there.
No, episode 9's going to do fine no matter what, I think.
Do
Despite how Solo does.
I would agree.
But my continuation of the question is if you have a bad episode 8 and you have Solo, which people are like, is that going to cause fan amongst casual fans? I mean, we're all going to go see it regardless, because we're all sitting here in Imperial track jackets tonight. I mean, you can see the posters on the wall and all that
think
stuff.
Star Wars is such a big movie name that no matter how much critically crapped on episode 8 is and how bad Solo is, it's got so much name recognition, it'll do well no matter what. That's my thought.
Well, I mean, monetarily, it probably
Sure.
will, but there seems to be a kind of a falling off of the fan base a little bit. And I'm talking about
I agree.
the old, like our generation of fan. Susie, okay, with Solo. Let's just use the Solo thing here. She was like, I'm not going to go see it. I don't think it's
I thought she loved The Last Jedi, though.
well, she did. But then she got talking about this. She's like, I'm not going to see it. Well, then she sat down and watched the trailer, and she's like, oh my goodness, it's got the girl from, and I can't remember the movie. She made me sit down and watch it.
The one where she's in love with the guy that's dying.
Yeah,
Me Before You.
Me Before You, yeah. And she was like, oh my goodness, shit's got her in it. And so she started getting interested. And then before I know it, she thought the guy who played Solo looked awesome. Oh, he's going to be so good. And so, okay, so she's hooked in. She loved episode 8. But for us, the ones that are this older generation
wearing track jackets.
wearing track jackets,
Are we wearing these when we go see?
oh, I think we should. Yes. It'll be so hot.
That might be past my.
I will.
Your coolness level's
But
not
woo!
able to handle
John,
that
John, I'm
too.
with you.
It'll be May, but it'll be frying. We'll be in there just burning up. It'll be worth it. It'll be all pit stained and everything when we come out.
Well, I mean, it's kind of comes with the territory.
I
Okay,
mean,
so here's-
yeah.
here's-
I mean, I don't want to like totally live out the Star Wars. What's the word I'm looking for? Stereotype.
Fandom.
What with J.J. Abrams coming back, Aaron, anybody can chime in on this. Do you think he's going to do a lot with episode 9 and kind of be like, yeah, Ryan Johnson does with 8, but he's stupid, and we're just going to go back and patch the holes up that he punched in my
I
first
definitely
movie?
feel like it's going to be an apology tour type
Better
movie.
be.
Yeah, and I feel like Ryan Johnson's already doing that. He's already saying stuff like, "Oh, well, maybe Kylo Ren was lying when he said blah blah blah." Like he's already starting to backtrack on stuff he said in his own movie.
Now, do you
But I
think
thought,
that
like after the
Go ahead.
first week, he was kind of like, "You guys are stupid."
He
for doing
was.
this."
He,
Yeah.
he was like fighting fans on Twitter and stuff and all kinds
Disney's
of
like, "Shut up."
right.
Okay, do you think like in that, Aaron, or anybody here sitting here, do you think that him doing that, coming out and being like, well, Kylo probably wasn't telling the whole truth. Luke probably, shouldn't have drunk the milk. Those type of things. Do you think that's him kind of looking at it and saying, okay, the fans are hating me, or do you think that's Disney getting in his ear saying, look, you want to do this next set, you better get out there and throw out some of these, these kind of apologies, I guess, if you're going to put it that way, so that episode 9 can get back on track.
Well, I'm afraid that they're going to take the wrong message from Last Jedi. Like there's a lot of people are saying, "Oh, he took too many chances, and that's why people didn't like it." And I'm like, no, he didn't take enough chances. You know, we've said several times that Rey should have went to the dark side at the end of the movie and left with Kylo Ren, and they didn't do that because they wanted to keep it safe. So I feel like
No, he took a bunch of wrong chances. Let's just make her parents a bunch of nobodies, and let's make Snoke a nobody.
But these are all things, and you all may think differently, Brian and Charlie and all y'all might think differently, but these are things that are totally correctable by J.J. Abrams in Episode 9. I mean, he didn't do anything that is not in...
Yes, he did.
What? What did he do that is not...
All right, major spoilers. Here we go.
Aaron.
He killed Luke Skywalker, and I can never forgive him for that.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, well, you know, he killed Han Solo, or J.J. Abrams killed Han Solo
Yeah,
in
but
Episode 8.
That's Han Solo.
Well, you
Not
better
Luke
watch your
Skywalker.
mouth.
Harrison Ford wanted to die.
Don't you talk about Han that way,
Do
man.
this if you kill me off.
You know that if they had offered Mark Hamill, he would have done 9 more of these movies. You know he would have.
He'd been like, let's go.
I mean, I just really don't want to be in either one of these Star Wars films. So if you don't put me in it, you gotta come down.
That's a good Harrison Ford.
That's a great Harrison Ford.
I'm gonna go home to my wife, to my age, and my kid.
Like, so I think that like they can save a lot of stuff in 9, and I don't think they can correct Snoke. It would be a total like, we are totally apologizing to you. Snoke is so and so.
Any corrections they do is gonna tick me off.
It's gonna be like obvious to you.
Don't insult my intelligence by telling me that, oh, we were just swerving you on this.
Yeah.
If I want to see stupid storylines, that's why I love wrestling. That's not why I like
Well,
Star
but
Wars.
okay, but in a case like you're talking about a swerve here, with them coming back out and
I
saying
wasn't talking about it, swear.
that I lost my train of thought because Tim's
I'm
over
sorry,
here
I'm
talking
sorry.
under his breath.
The thing is, it's Rey's parents. You
That's the
know,
one I was getting at.
yeah, because when what was it, Force Awakens came out, J.J. Abrams was like, "Oh, you won't believe who her parents were," and then that Colin Trevor guy who was supposed to do 9 but dropped out, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's a wonderful story. You're not going to believe who her parents were." And then Ryan Johnson came by and just threw it all out the window. So of course they're going to go back and change it back to the original plan.
Well, I mean,
they have to.
if you're talking about them changing like the Snoke story where he's still alive or something like that, I didn't care about Snoke all that much.
No, I think if they just do like a drive-by, oh, by the way, Snoke is the Emperor or something stupid.
They'll
like
throw it in a comic book or something. Yeah,
But
it won't be in the movies.
But the big one, I mean, the big one that has to be changed in my view for people like me and us old school fans to really continue to enjoy Episode 9 and make it feel fulfilling is Rey's parents have to be somebody. It just can't be this, oh, their parents were nobody. They were drunk.
Brian, how will you feel if they come out and change it and that her parents are somebody legitimate?
I feel like they've corrected the ship.
So
it's in the
it'll
right
make
direction.
you happy. It won't
Absolutely.
make you mad.
No, not at all.
Will it feel
Now,
like
if
they're
they come out
just
on the next one, like after these would you call them apology tours?
Yeah.
If they come out with more apology tours, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, guess what? Her parents really are a bunch of drunkards on a Daytona Beach
They don't-
weekend. And it's like, now I'm really ticked off.
I mean,
This
so you're
is-
not going to feel like, oh, they're just doing this to fix the problem. This was their plan all along.
I would rather them fix it like that and it make a better movie than to have another crap movie like 8 was.
I think that's the only thing.
Somewhere middle of the road.
Because it was so. I mean, like we talked about, 8 had some amazing scenes in it, and it could have been so much more. And it's like that potential of what it could have been instead of what we got. I think is what's frustrated me the most. That's why I keep saying it's such a bad movie, because it could have been on par with Rogue One.
Sure.
With some of the scenes that you had and the way the story had been built up, and then to be like, oh, her parents are nobodies, and I just sliced Snoke in half with my mind because after Snoke's supposedly been setting the stage here, spoiler, but it's just, I don't know. Like I said, this coming in the middle of the trilogy and JJ not have anything to do with it. I mean, to me, JJ is the only one that can save this whole thing. So we'll find out.
I still stand by my belief that because of the directorial problems they had with Solo, that there was absolutely nothing they could do with Episode 8 but let it go because they didn't want it to be looked at as, oh my gosh, we lost control of two movies in the same genre right together, and they just let it happen. And then they were just like, all right, JJ, you got to come in and do something with 9.
That's the part that just confuses me so much. Is like, who allowed Episode 8 to get released this way?
Isn't it Kathleen Kennedy?
Aaron?
Kathleen Kennedy's in charge of everything. But at the end of Last Jedi, it felt like to me like the Empire was in shambles. The Republic was in shambles. There was like nothing. There's no villains really left except for Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
He just left it all a mess. But at the end of the movie,
Yeah, he because the thing about it with me is with you got Kylo Ren as the supreme leader now, but he doesn't seem to have any direction other than the fact that he wants to kill his uncle and his mother. I mean, that just seems to be the sole purpose in life, and it isn't anything like what you would consider to be with the old Empire when you got Palpatine. I know people don't like to, we've already discussed the prequels here, but there was so much method to the madness in the prequels that added up to the true trilogy. And all of a sudden in this, it's like, okay, because Snoke has this, seems like he's got the same singular vision. And all of a sudden Episode 8 comes around and Kylo Ren has these temper tantrums. And now it's more along the lines of anarchy than it is of any plan to control the galaxy. So J.J. Abrams has got JJ's got his hands full.
So let me ask this question then. So for those of us who haven't read the books and don't know the extended universe, is there any other villain, group, organization that would even compare, that they could even bring in if they wanted to? That would, who would it be? Please help enlighten.
It has to be the one they've already set up, the Knights of Ren, the group that was with Kylo that wiped out the Jedi Temple.
That have vanished off the face.
The only what is it? I think the only other massive organization that you see within the galaxy, and especially during the Imperial Age in the extended universe, is the criminal elements like the Black Sun.
But there's no one single person that's as powerful as like what Snoke.
Well, you'd have to go with like Prince Zeno or but they haven't put
Xizor.
Prince Zeno, warrior princess. Yeah.
Well, but
and Zusha.
Yeah. But within the
Aaron thinks the Zusha joke's hilarious.
But within the extended universe, these are the only characters that you'd have. You'd have to come up with something completely different. There's supposedly some races out in the unknown reaches that may possibly be powerful. Some empires out there and stuff like that.
So, but I mean, basically, though, the way we've left 8 is that Kylo is now. I guess saying he's the most powerful person in the galaxy is not right, but he is the largest villain in the galaxy at this moment because he controls the First Order.
Yeah.
And he's on this just mission, as you said, to destroy his uncle and kill his mother.
And that seems to be his entire want in life. Speaking of, go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
I was going to say, Episode 9, it has to knock it out of the park, because
it's going to doom the next trilogy.
Right, because this is like the end of the whole Skywalker story. And this is the end of Rey's trilogy. It has to get everything right, and there's so much they have to deal with Carrie Fisher passing away. They got to figure that out to the story. They got to redeem Finn and Poe and stuff. And maybe we'll do it another episode.
Bring Luke back somehow, but anyways,
he'll be a Force ghost.
He'll be a Force ghost, But maybe that'll be another episode where I'll go through my Episode 9 ideas. Because we're kind of running long.
Yeah, we are running long here. A couple of questions here this evening as we close this down. What character should have a spinoff?
A Star Wars spinoff?
Yeah.
Well,
what Star Wars character should have a spinoff?
Just a bunch of Wicked and the Porgs.
Wicked Porgs.
What do you think, Charlie?
Wedge Antilles.
That'd be a cool one.
Rogue. I mean, if not maybe not even just him, but the Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say Stuttering Lando for a minute.
Well, I mean, I was stuttering, but
gosh, that movie would last forever.
Wow, we just went there.
4 hours. Be terrible.
Just went there on this podcast. Wow.
Or Charlie, any more?
Don't stutter, Charlie.
Just a Moz film so that Tim will lose his mind.
We'd make him go see it.
Yeah.
We'd slip him that roofie.
That's the thing is they're going to give you a Grand Admiral Thrawn film, and it's also going to star Moz and Jar Jar.
Oh my gosh,
That would be awesome.
I'd be so disappointed. Like, Misa,
Brian,
Misa Admiral Thrawn.
Brian spinoff.
I would like to see a Bounty Hunter spinoff.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Let me think for a minute. Skip me, John. Come back, Aaron.
This one's easy and it's a slam dunk. It has to be a Darth Vader movie. It has to be him hunting down the Jedi, is plotting against the Emperor. We could bring back Palpatine, have him having all kinds of fun. It'd be awesome.
Like skateboarding.
Him and Palpatine and Vader back to back with like, "Welcome to the jungle."
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Palpatine's like, I'm getting too over this.
That'd be awesome.
Lethal Vader. Another 48 hours in the galaxy.
I would.
Ooh, I know. I want an Akbar spinoff
Yeah, that's good too.
because after he was killed off scene.
By the way, he's dead.
Oh, by the way, the whole everybody's dead, including Akbar, your favorite character.
What about a character that shouldn't ever have a spinoff?
John, who was your spinoff?
Yeah, who's your spinoff?
Y'all took all mine.
Okay.
Y'all, everybody.
The one who
we
should
talked
never
about
have a
it.
spinoff is See-Through, bro.
Oh, Maz.
Jar Jar Binks.
Jojo Binks.
No,
Anybody? What's
Finn?
Oh yeah, Finn does not need a spinoff.
I mean, unless they do something cool with him in 9.
What if it was like a comedy spinoff?
what if it's just
Well,
screw it up every time.
Finn and DJ stuttering Lando, just
Screw
a
it
bunch
up.
of comical errors.
Actually, go back a little to the last question. I would like to see, I've said this numerous times, but a Tag and Bink spinoff, specifically like a 30-hour comedy show on BBC, something like that. And then also
So weekly,
Captain Phasma. I'd like to see more about Captain Phasma.
Why? So you
Because
can
that's a severe-
see her be defeated every time she shows up.
just the whole movie?
I am here. Oh, I lost.
The whole movie's her just walking and falling into the,
She's
the
a- she's
straps
It
on
was
the
a great
floor.
character, and they're just like
She's
one
the
of the
first
other
order
Rian
spy.
Johnson
She's not that
screw
great.
ups.
She's the first order Finn.
Every time she falls through the floor, it's like stuttering Lando. He's like, I did it again. That would be horrible.
I would hate to see a DJ spinoff. Stuttering Lando. I'd hate to see a Rose spinoff.
Oh gosh,
Does she even count? I mean,
There's a lot.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My terrible spinoff would be Wormy. And if you don't know who Wormy is, that was Luke Skywalker's nickname when he was a teenager. Avengers of Young
oh my
Luke
gosh.
Skywalker would be terrible.
It would just be him whining. It would be
Hanging out at Tashi Station.
it would just be Iron Fist. My name's
I'm
Luke
Luke
Skywalker.
Skywalker.
I like blue
I
milk.
can make my saber glow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. On
He's
that
talking
note-
about his lightsaber.
Wrap it up, John.
On that note, we'd
His
like
His
to
laser sword.
we'd like
us
to
outta
thank
here.
like to thank everybody for listening to us on
His
iTunes,
glow stick.
The one
my gosh.
we're not being the filthy ones.
Wrap it up, John.
SoundCloud, Google Play, Facebook, and also watching us on YouTube.
What about a spinoff where it's just people on Hoth cutting open tauntauns and stuffing people inside?
like? Oh, I thought these things smell bad on the end. That's,
Just so John can.
I'd be like,
Oh man, I forgot. Aaron and I had a 5 Live Mayor update.
oh, did you? Well,
no.
did you have one?
Podcast.
Oh, we can wait.
We got kicked off YouTube. We
Graphic content.
we went over to another country.
No.
What happened, Tim?
I can't say.
Oh,
We'll get you kicked off YouTube.
well, we do
Sorry,
appreciate everybody continue to listen to us, and we hope to see you again real soon.
See you later, players.
Aaron, Spider.
No, Aaron Grease.
Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
You go, sorry, Brent?
You already
I
sorry,
said
Bert.
it.
Oh, you did?